What happens when a mission goes silent? No sitrep, no contact, no extraction, just static. No one calls it what it is at first. They say, "We lost comms." They're probably laying low. Might have been jammed. But after the first hour, people start checking watches. Pilots stay on the tarmac. Intel goes cold. After 6 hours, radios go quiet in the TOC. You can feel it in the air. That weight. That silence. After 12 hours, nobody says it out loud, but they all think it. They're not coming back. March 17, 2009. A Black Hawk lifted off from Base Falcon just after 1900 hours. 7 men on board. 6 American operators. 1 Afghan interpreter. Unit designation still classified. Their mission was eyes only. The objective, an HVT, a Taliban commander who wanted to switch sides. He said he had names, GPS coordinates, intel on future strikes. It was enough to put boots in the air that night. They flew northeast toward the border, into a box canyon cut into the mountains. Thin air, heavy wind, zero margin. They landed without contact, moved out on foot. At 0247, a short burst came through. Movement near target. No compromise. That was the last thing they ever said. No second burst. No fallback call. No signal. And then, nothing. The sun rose over the valley. No team. No signs. Not even a casing or footprint. ISR was pulled in. Overhead scans ran thermal. Search teams hit grid after grid. Nothing. Just one boot print. Mid-slope. Facing away from the LZ. Not part of the landing path. The op was never acknowledged. The names never confirmed. The families told only, "missing in action." But inside the special operations community, there was a different name for the run. Operation Echo Mirage. Not in the records. Not in the after-action logs. Just a phrase whispered at team houses and bars. Echo Mirage. Years passed. Then one night, a short clip appeared on a forum that no longer exists. 6 men in a small room. Hands tied. Dirty. Tired. One of them turns to the camera. Doesn't speak. Just mouths a name. Mike. Then it cuts out. The video was gone within hours. Officials said it was fake. But some saw what they saw. The scar. The way he Saturday. The way he looked straight into the lens like he knew someone was watching. What happened in that valley? What happened to the 7 men who went in and never came out? And why is it still a secret? This is the mission that went dark, and the men who were never found. The team was drawn from multiple units under Joint Special Operations Command. A blend of skill sets. Recon, close quarters, signals, and tracking. Each man handpicked. None were strangers to deployments. Staff Sergeant Mike Reynolds. Delta Force. Georgia native. High school football captain turned team leader. 2 weeks from going home. His wife, Anna, had just given birth to their first child, a boy. He carried a photo folded 4 times, kept in the corner of his wallet, taped flat behind his blood chit. Sergeant First Class Devon Ridge Harper. 5th SFG. Mountain Specialist. He'd done time in Kuna, Kandahar, Mosul. Spoke Pashto with a tribal accent he picked up from 3 tours in Nuristan. His knees were wrecked from years under a ruck, but he never let anyone else carry the SATCOM dish. Corporal Luis Ortega. Comm guy. Soft-spoken. Played bass in a metal band back home in San Antonio. On this deployment, he brought a cheap harmonica. Played it when the bass generators cut out. Said it helped keep his head clear. Warrant Officer Nathan Callow. Pilot turned ground liaison. X-160th SAW. Grounded after a crash near Jalabad in 07. Took a transfer to continue serving. He never spoke much about the crash. But he kept a bullet casing on a string around his neck. My second chance, he called it. Specialist Troy Adisa. Medic. Chicago. Used to run EMS calls before enlisting. Made everyone on the team memorize one medical phrase in Pashto: "Don't move, I'll help you." His kit was always heavier than regs allowed. He carried extra trauma gear just in case. And finally, Captain Sean Donnelly. Officer in name only. Treated the team like brothers. Fast hands with a carbine, faster with a joke. He had a wedding ring made from aircraft aluminum. Said it reminded him that everything can fly or fall. The seventh man was Hamid Shah. Afghan-American interpreter. Grew up in Jalabad, educated in New Jersey. Went back to serve after the 9th of November. Trusted by all of them. Never carried a weapon, but never flinched when they came under fire. He was the only one who called Mike by his full name. Michael, not just Mike. Each man had his reason for being there. Some for duty. Some for vengeance. Some because they didn't know how to be anywhere else. The objective was simple on paper. Extract a Taliban defector who claimed to have detailed knowledge of smuggling routes used to move weapons and IED components from across the Pakistani border. JSOC had received 2 separate signals, one from satellite intercepts of enemy chatter, and one human source inside a detention facility. Both pointed to the same man, a mid-level Taliban logistics commander willing to trade names for safe passage. According to the intel packet, the defector was hiding near the edge of Kamdesh district, a place called Sarpal Ridge. Thin air. Rugged passes. Locals called it the Forgotten Trail. One road in. No road out. But the mission was rushed. The last drone flyover was over 3 weeks old. Maps were outdated. GPS grids were off by 300 meters. That might not sound like much, unless you're walking into a kill zone. Weather was moving fast. A cold front from the north meant they had maybe 36 hours before extraction would be impossible. The plan was to touch down near the ridge, proceed on foot to the safe house, verify the defector, and exfil by 0600. There were no support assets. No Apache Overwatch. No Shadow drones. The airspace was contested, and the operation was labeled low visibility, meaning no footprints, no mistakes, no survivors if compromised. Command told them the area was quiet. That signals were clean. But the ground truth is never that simple. Locals had gone silent days before. No market traffic. No cell chatter. No movement on known Taliban radio bands. That kind of silence doesn't mean safety. It means someone's waiting. The team departed FOB Kalagash just after 2300. Flight was quiet. Blackout conditions. The pilot put them down 2 clicks east of the original LZ. Winds were too strong in the pass. At 0247 hours, Ortega sent a transmission through SATCOM Channel 3, coded burst. Message read, "Target compound in sight. Observing. No movement yet." That was the last confirmed communication. No check-in at 0300. No confirmation of contact. No request for QRF. At 0415, command initiated a ping cycle. No response. By 0500, command declared comms black. ISR was launched at 0630. Drone passed over Sarpal Ridge, heat signatures inside the building, but low grade. No movement outside. One pass, then the drone was diverted to a higher priority target south of Gardez. The silence stretched. Minutes turned to hours. Still nothing. Some believe the team made contact and went dark by necessity. Others think something went wrong the moment they reached the compound. But here's the question. If they saw something, why didn't they report it? There was no static. No call for backup. No encrypted burst. Not even an emergency beacon. Was the target waiting for them? Was it a trap? Or did they see something they weren't supposed to? When the sun rose, only the snow answered. At 0600, when the team failed to exfil, standard protocol kicked in, QRF spin-up. Elements from 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment were already on alert in Bagram. They were airborne by 0830. Meanwhile, a Predator drone returned to the grid. Over Sarpal Ridge, the target compound was still there. But the heat signatures from the night before were gone. Not cold, gone. Thermal scan at 0913. No bodies. No movement. No signs of IEDs or ambush positions. The LZ showed no burn marks from aircraft. No vehicle tracks. No footprints. Except one. Just west of the ridge, near a patch of scrub brush, a single boot print. Vibram tread. American pattern. Facing east. No trail leading in. No trail leading out. As if the man had stood there and vanished. ISR pilots checked system calibration. They thought it was a glitch. But frame by frame, the boot print remained. Isolated. Impossibly clean. By 1100, the 1st Ranger platoon landed 4 clicks from the ridge. They advanced cautiously. The snow had already begun to fall, limiting visibility. By 1300 hours, the storm hit hard. Whiteout. Altitude wind shear. No chance for air evac. The team was stuck on the mountain. They reached the compound by nightfall. What they found was not an active site. It had been burned, roof collapsed, inside charred, walls blackened with smoke and time. Not from a firefight. This was a controlled fire. No brass. No drag marks. No shell fragments. There were signs the fire had started from the inside out. Chemical accelerants. Unknown compound. Residue that didn't match military-grade thermite or standard fuel. Every corner checked. Every room cleared. No bodies. No blood. No gear. Not even the defector. The team that had gone in the night before was gone. Like ghosts. And then the weather made things worse. Over the next 4 days, the storm locked down the entire northeastern corridor. ISR was grounded. Satellites were blocked by atmospheric distortion. Comms were intermittent. For 96 hours, the mountains were blind. When it finally cleared, nothing had changed. In the absence of answers, rumors started to grow. Some came from locals, Pashtun elders interviewed under soft interrogation. One man said he saw 6 foreign fighters being marched northeast, blindfolded, under heavy guard. Another claimed he saw helicopters, black, unmarked, flying low through the valleys after the storm. No one could verify the claims. But one thing was consistent. Every local who spoke later disappeared. Houses abandoned. Doors open. No trace. Then came the find that changed everything. For clicks past the compound, on a ridge marked only by a dried-out streambed, a recon drone located a secondary structure, caved in, burned out, partially buried in snow. Inside were remnants, pieces of an American rucksack strap, a melted fragment of ballistic eyewear, a torn fragment of cloth bearing the faint outline of a blood type marker, O+, but no bodies, no gear, and again, no shell casings, no bullets, no blood pool, nothing that said firefight, only ash and time. It wasn't an ambush site, it was a ghost site. At this point, theories diverged. Some claimed the team had been captured, taken alive. Others whispered something more troubling, that the men had walked into something unsanctioned. That the target wasn't a defector, but a decoy, a trap, a message. One field report, redacted in every copy but one, described a signal burst at 0252 hours. Not encrypted, not military, coded in a language no analyst could identify. And then, silence. Publicly, the mission didn't exist. No mention at press briefings. No Pentagon statement. No casualty report. The official line was administrative reclassification, personnel status under internal review. Privately, teams that searched the ridge were told to stop asking questions. Satellite footage was sealed. Bodycam archives disappeared from ops servers. Even the manifest from the original flight went missing. Within the SOF community, the fallout was immediate. Operators from different units began to compare notes. Names they'd heard in briefings but never saw again. Gear shipments with serial numbers that didn't track back to any known loadout list. And then came the footage. February 2014. A 24-second clip posted on a password-protected military message board, live for just under 90 minutes. Grainy, black and white. 6 men. 1 interpreter. Faces blurred, possibly by digital interference. In the background, a concrete cell with what looked like Arabic graffiti. Each man seated. Silent. One looks up. Mouthed a name, Mike. Then the video cut to black. The file was scrubbed. Metadata wiped. The post deleted by admin ID 01. A designation tied to internal Pentagon clearance, not civilian network users. Within days, the message board was shut down entirely. Families were contacted quietly. One was told their son had gone AWOL. Another was sent a non-specific letter of condolence, with no remains, no date, no official cause of death. All appeals under the Freedom of Information Act were denied. The reasoning, operational risk to ongoing efforts in theater. But the war was already ending. So the question remained, if they were taken, why no ransom? If they were dead, why no trace? And if this mission was so important, why did the government bury every part of it? Were they captured or never meant to come back? Within days of the Operation Silence, the SOF community split into camps. Not by politics, by possibility. What happened in the mountains that night? There were only 3 explanations. The first theory points to the defector, codenamed Crown Falcon. He was supposed to be a mid-level IED coordinator ready to flip on his Taliban handlers. But Crown Falcon had no history, no previous intel drops, no human corroboration, just one signal intercept, and a name fed through an Afghan National Army contact. Some believed Crown Falcon was never real, that the entire mission was built around bait. Maybe a local warlord cut a deal. Maybe someone needed to trade American soldiers for influence. One analyst, now retired, claimed she flagged inconsistencies in the defector profile days before Echo Mirage launched. Her warning was never acknowledged. Her last logged comment, "This is a setup." The second theory. The team crossed into the Cuna-Pakistan corridor. Whether by intent or by GPS drift, they may have entered tribal lands under Haqqani control. Several months later, a Pakistani journalist working freelance for a Western outlet was arrested and later disappeared. His last story draft mentioned 6 foreign prisoners being moved through Tyra Valley under ISI protection. That journalist has never been found. And just 2 weeks after his disappearance, a drone strike hit a location less than 20 miles from his last known coordinates. The strike was never claimed. The damage was never listed. One village elder from that region gave an unverified statement to a Red Crescent volunteer. The Americans were here. But they were not alone. They were guarded by their own. A third theory has circulated quietly among former CIA paramilitary officers. One whispered phrase, Site 0. Not a detention facility. Not a kill house. Something older. Left over from the Soviet days. Repurposed. Then lost. The story goes, Crown Falcon wasn't a real defector, but a ghost asset used to lure teams into verifying the site's location. If Echo Mirage confirmed it still existed, that was the mission's true goal. But when the team went in, what they found wasn't what Langley expected. And so, the site went dark. An Afghan man, a former shepherd, later told a Canadian documentary team he saw strangers with masks entering a facility in the rocks, then never coming out. He described a mark etched in stone. Not Arabic. Not Pashto. A symbol shaped like a triangle inside a square. The footage was never aired. The film's producer was later hired by a private security firm and stopped all media appearances. Every angle ended in silence. But then, there was the video. Early 2014, on a darknet TOR forum used by military contractors and rogue SIGINT analysts, a 36-second video was posted. File name, em07_rescuepending.move. Poster handle, Ascend6, traced to a non-routable server in Kyrgyzstan. The footage was low resolution, infrared filtered. 7 figures seated against a concrete wall. No audio. Each man blindfolded. One leans forward, mouths something. A lip reader interpreted the name, Mike. Another tapped 4 fingers to his thigh in rhythm. Paused. Then repeated. Analysts say it could match the Morse code for H. At frame 24, a scar is visible on one subject's jawline. A scar that matched a documented injury on Staff Sergeant Casey Holt from a 2007 blast in Helmand Province. 3 families privately confirmed they recognized subtle gestures, even posture. One woman said the way her husband twitched his left foot, he always did that under stress. The video was removed less than 90 minutes later. All download links broken. Forum wiped. The poster's account deleted. A week later, a Pentagon spokesperson was asked off-record about the footage. They responded only, "Not validated. Likely fabrication." But behind closed doors, the DOD sent cease and desist letters to 3 military bloggers who shared still frames. No reason given. Just a warning, for your safety and others, remove immediately. If the footage was fake, why react like it was real? Attempts to file Freedom of Information Act requests for the Echo Mirage mission have all been denied. Grounds. Ongoing threat to operational security. A 2021 leak from a defense contractor's cloud archive contained fragments of an internal JSOC memo dated 2 days after the team went missing. The line that stood out, "Event terminated. Personnel unresolved. No extraction." Buried in another memo from a CENTCOM SIGINT analyst was a warning. Recovered spectrum anomalies indicate high bandwidth, unknown encoding. Possible source, non-US transmitter. Recommend further study or deletion. That analyst later left government service. In a podcast under an alias, he said, "We were told to array something before we knew what it was. That's not procedure. That's fear." And a final note, handwritten, included in an anonymous package sent to a military family in Ohio. Just 5 words, "He's alive. Don't stop asking." By the time the official statement stopped, the families were already in motion, calling, writing, organizing. Not demanding justice. Just clarity. Janine Reynolds still keeps the same phone number she had in 2009. Just in case, she says. If he ever found a way to call, I didn't want to miss it. Mike Reynolds was 2 weeks from holding his first child. His son, Caleb, is now 15. He plays football, wears his dad's old dog tags under his jersey, and every Veterans Day, he lights a candle. Not at a grave, but next to the last photo they ever took as a family. It was at the airport. A private Facebook group started by the wife of Staff Sergeant Holt still runs today. It's called Echo Families, We Remember. Posts show up late at night. Some are updates. Others are memories. He left a note on the fridge, "Back soon, keep the beer cold." That was his goodbye. Still can't bring myself to wipe it off. One mother, Lillian Ruiz, whose son Jeremy was the team's interpreter, never speaks to the press. But she gave one quote to a local newspaper in El Paso. "I'm not asking for all the answers. Just one. Did he suffer? Or did he know we were still looking?" For most of these families, the pain isn't just the loss. It's the absence of anything. No remains. No flag-folding ceremony. Just silence. And silence, when stretched over a decade, starts to sound like erasure. In the years since the disappearance, the mission Echo Mirage has become more than a footnote. It's become a cautionary tale among veterans and special operations circles. The kind that doesn't get told at the bar, only in whispers, or in code. Some say Echo Mirage was one of several phantom ops carried out during a period when JSOC coordination crossed wires with CIA-led objectives. Black sites, field intel, mission blur. One former Green Beret, who served in the same sector months later, said this. "We hit a village. Coordinates were fed through 2 different op centers. No flag on the ground. Just burnt-out gear. US issue. That's when it clicked." Echo Mirage wasn't the first. Another Special Tactics airman recounted a mission where they were told to recover downed gear from previous activity. The packaging on the radios, matching serials from the missing unit. Even among CIA veterans, the phrase Echo's ghost became code for when something had gone so far off book that it could never be acknowledged. Not publicly, not internally, not even in death. One analyst wrote in a private journal uncovered in a family estate sale and authenticated by former colleagues. Echo Mirage? We traded truth for silence. The shame is not that they died. The shame is that we chose to forget. Whatever happened out there, ambush, defection, or disappearance, these men deserve more than a lost file and a line on a spreadsheet marked unresolved. They were fathers, sons, brothers, Marines, soldiers, Americans. Staff Sergeant Michael J. Reynolds, U.S. Army Special Forces. Staff Sergeant Casey Holt, U.S. Army Special Forces. Technical Sergeant Brandon Tex Langley, USAF Combat Controller. Corporal Neil Washington, U.S. Marine Corps Reconnaissance Battalion. Specialist Jordan Singh, U.S. Army Signals Intelligence. Sergeant William Billy Cordero, U.S. Army Medical Support. Jeremy Ruiz, Afghan-American interpreter, civilian contractor. At Fort Bragg, one plaque exists without command approval. It's affixed to the back of a bench near the training field. It reads, Echo 7, missing but never lost. Last line from Team Comms recording, target observed. No movement yet. It was the last thing they ever said. And maybe, just maybe, one day, we'll hear from them again. If you or someone you know served in Task Force 73, or has knowledge of cross-border operations during Q1 2009, we encourage you to reach out anonymously. Every voice matters. Every clue helps. Some missions go dark. Some names vanish from the record. But not from memory. And not from us. These men didn't just serve. They stood at the edge of what was known, what was allowed, and whether they were betrayed, forgotten, or left behind. They deserve more than a file buried in a vault marked classified. This isn't a ghost story. It's a warning. It's a reminder that in modern war, the battlefield doesn't end at the front lines. And sometimes, the silence says more than the comms ever could. Do you believe Operation Echo Mirage was covered up? Was it a botched mission, or something far worse? Leave your theory in the comments. Let the world see what they erased. Like this video to honor the lost. Share it to keep their memory alive. And subscribe for more real stories. Stories that were never meant to be told.